In this WrestleTalk news, Vince McMahon may be returning to WWE, MJF has a Twitter spat with the WWE star, huge AEW Dynamite numbers, and more. Subscribe and enable notifications to always on for daily wrestling news videos.
Support WrestleTalk!
I've been off work for a week as I've been ill. Did I miss any big wrestling news? I'm sure there can't have been much more about that all-out media scrum, can there? Oh. Well, at least WWE has continued to be good, right? Nothing changing there either? Bollocks. Vince McMahon retired from WWE in July, following an investigation about accusations of sexual misconduct and a reported number of NDAs covering up these acts totaling over $14 million. While many didn't believe Vince would be truly gone from the company, having seen the dramatic shift in the quality of WWE shows, it looks like he actually has, with Stephanie McMahon and Nick Khan being co-CEOs and Triple H becoming head of creative. The low-key nature of Vince McMahon's retirement from the company, only just being announced on Twitter of all things, would seem to indicate that WWE are at least aware of the negatives of bringing Vince to TV. You know, unlike when the accusations first came out and the investigation got underway, where Vince came out on national television to say, "We're all in this together," and then reportedly yelled, "F him," after he got backstage. But that's by the by. But that was before Vince's actual retirement, so now that Triple H is in charge of what goes on our screens, Vince won't be making any more appearances now. Right? Well, according to an insider source for the US Sun, so take that with a pinch of salt as they have an unproven track record to say the least, Vince McMahon may make a return to the company for one last appearance at next year's WrestleMania. According to the reports, Vince may not be completely done with WWE. There are discussions about how to pay tribute to his achievements of turning the small-town wrestling biz into a global business venture. The small-town wrestling biz, real small, tiny. No arenas sold out before WWE. His departure was pretty unceremonious in terms of the business behind the scenes, but the sport is about fans, and as controversial as it may seem, there are fans who feel he deserves a send-off. However, an acknowledgement of his contributions remains an active discussion among the creative team. Obviously, Vince will not wrestle again, but having an invitation to WrestleMania could be a possibility. One discussion is whether it is too soon for him to be honored at the WWE Hall of Fame event the night before WrestleMania. I mean, you say it's obvious that Vince won't wrestle again, but we have literally seen him wrestle this year. Anything is possible. And as for Vince being inducted into the Hall of Fame, I think it's an inevitability, but I would tend to agree that next year's Mania would be too soon. If this is all true and these discussions are being had, when would you do the Vince send-off? Would you do one? Let me know in the comments. And while it was well known that Vince preferred his wrestlers to have a certain look over their wrestling ability, it seems Trips may have a similar mindset when it comes to some wrestlers. Since taking over WWE's creative, Triple H has made quite a few drastic choices and changes for the product, in bringing back a bunch of released stars, altering gimmicks and names where he sees fit, sometimes quite dramatically, like Kevin Owens immediately forgetting he was involved in a comedy feud and becoming great again. Triple H has always been known to be on the lookout for the next crop of talent he can bring to the company, and considering that the NXT women's division at one point in time was arguably the best women's division of any major wrestling promotion, he's got an eye for female talent and how to promote them. Having said that, the new scouting edict from WWE paints a slightly different picture. According to Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio, the plans WWE has for the future of its women's divisions is pretty Gymnasts, which arguably is better than the fitness models of old that Vince McMahon wanted, but still, really what they're after is Tiffany Stratton. More of her. While being a gymnast isn't inherently a bad thing and might make for an easier transition into wrestling, it does seem a little limited and restrictive, as there are many other flavors of wrestler out there. In a dramatic tone shift now though, let's talk about Velveteen Dream, aka Patrick Clark, EC3, and WWE. EC3 recently accused Clark of setting up a phone camera to record fellow NXT talents using the bathroom without their consent during a house party at EC3's house. Clark has since responded to this accusation, saying, "You throw this dirt on my name saying that I tried to record you in your bathroom. Let's be honest, Mike, you're leaving out a lot of details. What were we doing that night, Mike? What type of powder was on the table, Mike? Cocaine is a hell of a drug, EC3. Get your shit together. And if anyone would like to go to my friends list right now and check out who follows me, because I'm not following him, EC3 is a follower of mine. I would really think that if you thought that much of me, that you couldn't trust me, you definitely wouldn't be following me on social media. On Instagram all these years later, EC3. You're pathetic, now control that narrative, you asshole. EC3 would then send a statement of his own to PW Insider that stated, "In life, I forgive everyone for everything that has been done to me. I personally have never failed a drug test from any employer, nor been arrested for drug usage, paraphernalia, assault, battery, or any inappropriate behavior. My forgiveness includes Patrick Clark for setting up a video recording device in the bathroom of my home. As far as any other accusations and allegations against him, I hope he finds the help he needs." Sean Ross Sapp would then note via Fightful Select that in the wake of these accusations during his time in NXT, Clark admitted cocaine use, which was another open secret and long rumored to be a reason for a quiet suspension during his NXT run. And speaking of WWE, as Dream was a particular pet project for Triple H in NXT, sticking around in the company for far longer than many expected, many thought that despite the negative press associated with Patrick Clark, he could be on his way back to WWE, along with the bunch of names that had already returned. This was of course before more news of recent arrests broke in August. However, Fightful Select has more on this, and WWE may not have been that interested at all. Thank you for being awesome pledge hammers on our Patreon page. He can last Sean Fur longer than you in the ring, and Starbucks Stephen Costa. You can get your own shout out and loads of extra bonus content by visiting us at patreon.com/WrestleTalk. According to Fightful Select, WWE had no desire to bring Velveteen Dream back, with one source claiming that it would be a public relations nightmare. By the time that Dream had stopped appearing on NXT TV, he reportedly had significant heat with a large portion of the NXT locker room, and on top of that, one NXT coach reportedly referred to him as a headache to deal with his behavior being reportedly reprimanded on several occasions. One WWE source who reportedly works immediately under the higher-ups noted that it would take a miracle for Velveteen Dream to be rehired by WWE, or a situation to arise in which that would even be possible or likely. This source also reportedly confirmed that despite Dream's social media teases, WWE had no plans on bringing him back to the company. And now for another dramatic tone shift, it's time for some fun MJF Twitter shenanigans. Yay! With the release of the PWI 500, an annual list of the best 500 professional wrestlers in the world, which is sort of in kayfabe, sort of not, and a lot of fans really care about it, Sheamus and Happy Corbin were happily mocking / talking about the list, noting that Corbin had placed at 126 on Sheamus's banger list. Corbin commented that, "Thanks for the info. I'm not a mark, so I didn't read the issue. See if you can get Dave to retweet you." Sheamus responded with, "Kayfabe bro, kayfabe. Real heels wear scarves," which sure seems to hint at MJF, doesn't it? MJF then weighed in with a simple "sad," before Sheamus would respond to that with the Conor McGregor gif of him saying, "Who the F is this guy?" MJF seemingly didn't take kindly to that, responding with, "The guy you alluded to. Stop now or I'm gonna devour you. You can rock 6-inch lifts and play top guy, but you've been handed the ball multiple times and fell. I'm glad you're having a resurgence and finally figured out how to get over. It only took you a decade. Took me 1 day." I bet you they're really good friends though, or maybe this was legit? In other MJF-related news, congratulations must go out to him as he got engaged to his longtime partner Naomi. But of course, MJF can't just be happy about the moment, he's got tweets to do. "Ladies panicking on my TL, don't worry. Just because there's a goalie doesn't mean you can't score. Strive for greatness. Hashtag salt of the year. Congratulations? I guess? And in vague MJF sort of related news, Dynamite pulled in some very strong numbers for this week's episode. Following all the news from All Out, MJF returning in the AEW World Title Tournament matches, Dynamite managed to draw an average of 1.175 million viewers, the highest viewership for the show in 2022. And the 4th week in a row, the show has done over 1 million. The only time the company has managed that feat since the period of July to September 2021. It's good signs for both AEW and WWE right now. Yay for wrestling. Isn't it nice that more people are watching wrestling? Good for us.
In this WrestleTalk news, some AEW suspensions are over. Triple H makes even more changes to NXT, and all is right with the world. And Luke will be here reviewing AEW Dynamite.